All right, everybody, it's 420. You know what that means. It's National High Time. Time to get your smoking utensils out and spark up.
You are now
Tuned in to the
420
collaboration
podcast.
Hey, and welcome to 420 Collaboration Podcast. We have with us a special guest today, Jake from Jonesin Genetics. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you doing?
Good. So we're interested in getting to see what Jonesin Genetics is all about and who the man behind it is. So if you don't mind, I'll just want to jump right into it.
Please do. Thanks for having me here, by the way. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it. So can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Jake Jones, and I'm the CEO of Jonesin Genetics, head breeder over there. And what I do is I discover cultivars. You know, I go out there and I mix and match and try to find the right unique mixes and put together some interesting, unique combinations of cultivars.
So tell us, how did you get started in this wonderful industry?
Yeah, so I got started because I'm from SoCal, so it's a widely known product. You know, weed's been smoked since the dawn of time out there, and I wanted to be part of it because I had witnessed some friends making a deal and making some money in it, and I wanted to be part of that. So I got into knowledge of horticulture and learning how to grow. Super young, you know, and it was just one of those things that where I was from, I happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that always helps too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I thank my stars for that.
So what does a daily grind look like?
Yeah, so every day is pretty unique in its own. The differences are I generally try to wake up super early in the morning, and first thing I do is work out with some push-ups and some curls or whatever it is that I'm working on for the day, and then right to the garden. You know, I'm in there, I'm checking on the babies, I'm checking on the moms, and I'm making sure that everything's happy and healthy and moving at a good pace. After that, I'm hitting about noon or so, and I'm eating lunch, chilling out, maybe responding to some emails and sending out some seeds. By the end of the day, I'm chilling with the wife and having dinner and trying to Netflix and chill a little bit, you know.
I hear you on that one. I think the whole audience hears you on that one. How did you know you wanted to be a cannabis entrepreneur?
Yeah, like, oh, this is going to be my life forever. You know what I mean? But I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, when I was younger to begin with. And even now, I'm still fighting it a little bit, but I know that cannabis is such an influential part of my life that this is what I was called to do. You know, this is what I'm here for. And so I definitely didn't expect it, but I appreciate the fact that it came on the train that it came on, you know?
Oh, yeah, exactly. You have about the cannabis industry for the future? What's a little nugget you have?
Yeah, so I feel like we're going to make some wide advances here in the next couple of years, you know, in both the cannabis side and the hemp side of the industry. I think cannabis-wise, we're going to see a lot more understanding of terpenes and like what that does for people. And then on the hemp side, I think we're going to have a lot bigger results in like manufacturing of homes, maybe buildings, and maybe some other useful products that we seem to be using wasteful items on as opposed to like something that we can just reproduce on.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because I've seen some videos myself of, you know, hempcrete and stuff like that. I mean, it's only a matter of time before, you know, we start using that full-fledged, you know. Right.
No, absolutely. And I support it 100%. I can't wait to put some hemp floorboards into my home here.
I know. You could be like, hey, those are hemp, baby. Those are
That's
hemp.
right. You break off a piece and smoke it if you wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Chip off a piece of that right there. Boom. So when I say cannabis genetic stability, what does that mean to you? What comes to mind?
Well, that's a good question. So genetic stability is about like how stable that plant is, meaning like, how comfortable that plant is with being itself. In today's day and age, you can't make an assumption on what somebody is or is not anymore, right? Whether it be male or female. And the same thing applies to plants. You have to let them make their decision. And it's our job as breeders is to try to find the ones that don't quite know what they want to be and to pull those out of the possibility pool. We definitely
Yeah.
want guaranteed genetics, and I'm not saying guaranteed males and guaranteed females, but we want them to know who they are and what they are because it's a living organism. It's biology.
Yeah. How do you feel about I guess I don't know if I would call it a trend, but it's where like new growers are just popping a seed one and done, just growing it out and then moving on to the whole next strain. How do you feel about that? What comes to mind?
Yeah, so that is the most depressing thing in the world to me, as of late when it comes to this industry, is people aren't appreciating the plant for what it is. When you only grow it once, you're not able to see what that plant can give you or what you can give that plant even better. I grew Blue Dream when I was younger for 6 or 7 years, and I grew it for several reasons. One being it was a big catch crop, and another being that I knew the plant very well, so I could grow it very well. And obviously the first time you grow your plants, they're not going to be gorgeous and beautiful and perfect, and as time goes on, you start to know the little things. Sometimes they want more calcium, sometimes they want less nitrogen, or whatever the case may be, hotter temperatures, colder temperatures. And you start to see that, and you develop what the environment needs to be for that plant to really maximize its yield and potential.
Now, also, how has that helped you picking your phenotypes for your genetics? How does that help by growing one plant so the audience kind of understands a little bit more?
Yeah, so I mean, like it's not so much of a big deal if you're just a grower, right? Like if you're just like a home grower growing for yourself, it doesn't really matter because you've got your small tent and you don't have the possibility of making clones. But like on a breeding standpoint, if I'm growing Blue Dream and I pop 15 Blue Dream seeds, and of those 15, 8 of them are the same looking, 4 of them aren't the same looking, and the last 3 look completely different, you have a genetic pool that's super varied, and that means that you're not going to have a consistent yield every time. And we want consistency as growers, I would assume, because that's what you're banking on. You know what I mean? Like that's your money. So you should know what you're going to get into, and you should know what those plants are gonna pull for you if you give them their best.
Yeah, and I mean, just to touch on what you said about growing the Blue Dream, I think it's a big thing, especially for a new grower, just to take one plant and grow it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a whole cloning closet. I mean, taking one clone and regrowing it again is really not that hard. But I like how you touched on that and kind of explained. So what you do is basically, to break it down for the audience, you basically now have a model to go by. So that Blue Dream you were growing is your model home, and the rest of them are all modeled after.
Absolutely, that's the mom. That's the mother. So I'm looking for, if what I usually do is if I'm taking them, if I'm taking on a new cultivar, right? I'll pop as many seeds as I can that I have of that cultivar, and I'll grow them all out. And as they age, I'll take clones of every single one of them so that once I put them into flower, if I like a specific one, I can go back to that clone, regrow that, and then keep it for however long I want to keep it for.
So you're giving yourself a choice. Basically, you're not just letting the seed pop and give you whatever it's there. You're basically popping a whole bunch of seeds and you're finding which one you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like that's what it comes down to, right? Like I'm the one growing it, so I should like what I'm doing. And like
Yeah.
I understand that some people feel like they don't have enough room, but really if you think about it and you use your space wisely, you create like a massive amount of space that you didn't even know existed. You know,
Yeah.
and I started off growing in a closet, and I grew up and got into bigger rooms and facilities and doing all sorts of things. So like it just a matter of trying and doing, you know, and getting out there and putting your best effort.
Yeah. It's basically getting your hands dirty, getting back to the core of what this whole wonderful miracle plant is. And I mean,
Yeah,
I think in a way we have kind of, lost a little sight of that, lost a little respect for it a little bit along the way. Not so much respect, it's a little bit harsh, but we're not taking the care. Not everyone cares, if that makes sense.
absolutely. Um, I think that we're definitely in a positive approach, but we just have to be a little more patient with the ones around us that are trying to help us out in all actuality. You know, um, there's a lot of hands in the pot when it comes to giving advice and getting advice and stuff like that. But the general rule of thumb that I like to tell people: stick with one thing for a certain amount of time and take notes. You know what I mean? Like take notes of what your pHs are, or your temperatures, or whatever it is. And then if you're noticing a difference in those fields, you see that there's going to be a difference in your plants, and it can tell you whether it's a beneficial thing or a negative thing.
Yeah. So basically, it's your job to weed out the lack of a better word, weed out the weak and keep the strong for us growers who just want to have some nice medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a breeder, like it's just a fancy way of saying that I just sit in a grow room, I smoke a bunch of pot, and I stare at a couple of plants, and I go, "Hey, man, that one looks different than that one." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
And then I carry it on to the next level. That's all it is. It's difficult in the sense of like it's time consuming. It takes years to develop some things, and some things it takes just a few months. But it takes lots of dedication and passion, and I have plenty of that.
No, I could tell. I can hear it in the way you talk about it. You can feel that you really have a connection with these plants. It's not just a fluke. It's not just something for fun. This is something that you really take pride in, and you want other people to take pride in growing it. And that's why it's so important to regrow a plant, to understand it and give that plant the respect it deserves before you move on to the next.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, cannabis is what got me into my home and what got me my future. It saved my life in a lot of situations and others around me.
Mm.
So I feel like the more respect that you give it, it's going to give you and pay you back tenfold, you know?
Oh, I understand. And if, for the regular person out there who's just growing for, their medicinal use because they have some sort of issue that it helps with, um, I hope that they appreciate people like you who take the time, and it's not about money. It's not about this. It's about making a quality product and standing behind it. And because of your hard work, we're able to grow quality, high yielding genetics because you took the hard work out for someone like me, so I can just take it up it and go and pick which one is favorite for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the goal, is to make some cultivars that are easy to grow and everybody enjoys.
Mm.
Um, a unique quality that I try to have over here at Jonesin Genetics is two-tone cultivars. A cultivar that has one smell or flavor, and then when you break it open or you smoke it, it has another smell or flavor. So it's
Interesting.
one way and another way in a whole nother direction.
Now, fortunately, I had the privilege to grow one of your genetics. I wasn't able to keep a clone because of the situation, but um, yeah, it did have a two-tone. It did smell. It actually smelled like hash, the smell, but it tastes like fruit. So it was a really quite. It was quite an experience. I wasn't expecting it. I'm not really familiar with two tones, like in my, what I do on my in my stuff. But it was definitely a nice. It was a nice taste, nice flavor, very good um, stabilization. You know, so
I
yeah.
appreciate that kind words, man. Yeah, I work hard on my cultivars and I stand behind them. If anybody has any
Hmm.
questions about them, reach out to me for sure. I'm just an email away or a text away, and you can get all the information that you need directly from the source. You don't have to worry about any of the craziness when you order from these wild unknown websites.
True, and that's good that you're telling the people that no, I want you to ask me the question. I don't want you just to try to figure it out on your own and watch 27 different YouTube videos. Come to
No,
me. I'm the
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I answer as much as I can, and I block out a couple hours out of every day so that I can respond to questions or assist anybody that reaches out to me. I'm not all knowing by any means, but I have a lot of friends that I can reach out to if I don't know the answer, and I'll help you out. Like,
mm,
my goal is for you guys to be successful just as much as I am. I mean, like, I can't be where I'm at without people positive and doing their job growing the strains that I'm creating.
true. That's a true statement. Um, so what does the future hold? What's on the horizon for Jones's Genetics?
That's a good question. So my goal right now, my wife and I just purchased our first home, which is amazing to us on a personal level. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. So my goal now is to get up and running, man, to get started and get going. I've I have a couple of partners that I've been trying to work with and get some things going. And I've got some other things at my own personal homestead that I'm working on. And I'm hoping for some positivity. I'm just gonna put the good foot forward and just see what I can create or what I can discover.
Oh, amazing, man. I'll tell you, personally, I'm looking forward to the next creation because if that mac and cheese didn't make your cut, I can only imagine what your standards are for the cut making. So,
Yeah,
um, I
absolutely.
am I am looking forward to it, and I'm sure the audience is. If any of anybody is looking for proper genetics, someone who's worked hard, who's given time, money, everything, and if you want genetics that are going to be stabilized and just taken with care, then you're going to want to look into his website and you know pop a couple of his and then learn the strains. And that's kind of where what it boils down to at the end.
Absolutely. And you can find me on jonesingenetics.net. Easy, simple Google function, or you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. And on Instagram,
Okay.
Jonesin Genetics. I'm just a message away, and it's not very hard to reach out and type out a message.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's great. I appreciate you taking the time out of your daily grind to explain, kind of go over a little bit about who you were and what Jones's Genetics is, and I appreciate your take on the industry and other stuff like that. And I know our audience does, and we're looking forward to have you back again.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. This was a great experience.
Thank you.